All right, I don't have a gavel. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending our Personnel Committee meeting for July 12, 2016. I am Alderman Stoyer, I am present. We have Alderman Tom Duane here, we have Alderman Joe Moore, and we have Alderman Tom Sladak. We are all here. I would like adoption of the agenda. I would like to.
So moved.
So moved by Tom Duane. Second by Alderman Sladak. Any other questions on this?
Mr. Chairman, do we need to take number 5 before number 4? Because number 4 includes a request that's dependent upon number 5.
I'll make a motion to take number 5 before 4.
That's fine. Let's just do that.
Okay. Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. That 5 will precede 4. All right. We need approval of the minutes from the June 14th, 2016. Alderman Sladak. Do we have a second?
Second.
Alderman Duane. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that passes. All right, next, we have number 5. Request to reclassify the vacant photo ID technician position at $18.40 to $20.44 an hour to a criminalistic specialist position in accordance with Bay Area Administrative Salary Schedule, $23.99 to $28.22.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Do we have any other discussion?
Is there any,
This would be consistent. We actually previously took a higher paying position and moved it into this. We're kind of starting the unit on the criminalistic specialist. So this would be the second position. I can't remember what the other position was. It was a higher position that we brought into this, and now we're bringing, we have a vacancy. So we are actually modifying that whole area there.
It's consistent.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, it's consistent.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Number 4, request to fill the following replacement positions and all subsequent vacancies resulting from internal transfers.
Move to approve 4A through E.
second.
Okay? Is there any other questions or discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Number 6, request to approve out-of-state travel for Brian Pilat, Assistant City Forester, to train on emerald ash borer treatment and research at Bioforest Technologies in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, August 29th, 31st of this year.
Move to approve so we can save my tree.
Do I have to write that down?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we have a second.
Can I just ask a question on it real quick?
Yes, you may.
Would this be Donnie?
Yes.
Is this, now it's a Bioforest Technologies, is this use of chemicals or what or is this like natural treatments? Kind of like, the reason I ask is now I just recently read about, Des Moines, Iowa using a wasp, not a stinging wasp, but releasing millions of wasps out that actually lay their eggs in the larva of this specific emerald ash borer. And I just wonder if this visit will cover like alternative methods of treatment that might be, more so biological than chemical.
Yes, and actually Brian is here, he can speak to the wasp issue for you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Brian?
Sure.
Great. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, the Bioforest, that's an insecticide. It's an organic compound that's used exclusively through them. But outside of just the application of it, we're working with them on prison traps, so detection, monitoring techniques, management strategies that we're doing with Bioforest. As far as the parasitic, non-stinging wasps, that's a good point, because they're very tiny, like sizes of fruit flies. We're using those already.
Oh, we are? Okay.
Yeah, in fact, we did a second release today.
Great.
Okay. Anything
That's
else?
all I had. Thank you.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. Okay, request by Alderman Stoyer to receive an update on the Health 1265 program. I did have a chance to meet with Director Boland, and recently we talked about this a bit. I also have talked to some of the rank and file on this as well. So, there are some questions and there are some concerns, and I realize that anytime there's an initiative taken, I think at first blush you look at some things and there's a lot good to be said about it. But with that being said, I would like to talk about some of those points. But with that being said, I would like Lynn to just kind of bring us up to speed as far as what's going on with this, and then we'll have some other questions afterwards.
Just in terms of the update, I thought I would go through what kind of communications we've had with employees on this and then where we are today. So on March 8th, we did meet with the city's benefit committee, also known as the LMC, and the city's wellness committee. There are representatives from each of the departments on those committees. And actually, in some cases, we had 2 representatives, and we did review with them what the 1265 program was going to look like, and took questions and things, input that they had at that time. And then on April 12th, we presented to the Personnel Committee, actually to the request of the Personnel Committee at that time was to contract with My Inertia. My Inertia is the group that manages the website and all the information, and also reviewed the Health 1265 program. The Personnel Committee asked us to take the program to employees for their feedback before any action was taken. And we held several meetings. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, it looks like we held about 7 meetings. We had them at various locations throughout the city. We had several at City Hall. We met at the Park Shop, DPW West, Police Department, and Water Utility. We then came back to the Personnel Committee on April 26th, and they approved the contract with My Inertia. It was subsequently approved by the City Council the following week. And then we sent out a lot of information, the brochure and other communications to employees. And then we had, again, another series of meetings with employees because we knew that there were going to be questions about implementation, how does this work now that it had actually passed, what was going to be happening. We also worked with them on a number of their devices that they have. To date, so things got going in May, but actually as of June 1st, the whole program started kind of rolling. And to date, we have 465 employees that are eligible to participate. 352 of them have signed up. That means we have 75% that have signed up so far. There's 113 that haven't registered yet, and we will be doing outreach to those individuals to talk to them, to help them if they need assistance, answer any questions that they might have. Because in order for them to get their HRA credits this year, they really need to go through the program. So we'll work with those individuals if that happens to be the reason that they haven't signed up. But we have 75% participation going on right now. So.
Okay, I think one of the questions I had, we have how many employees in the city? Now, of course, that includes police and fire, and I know they're not involved.
Correct.
So how many other employees are eligible?
465.
Okay, so you're saying that out of that, we had about 350?
352.
Okay.
They were signed up as of July 5th.
Well, I think one of the concerns I've had, Lynn, with some of the folks that have been talking about this is that you're stating that you've had meetings. There have been opportunities. You said there were 7 different meetings where people were allowed to comment and speak to that matter. So it gets a little cloudy as far as just understanding that you put it out there. So that's important, but then I hear from some other folks that they haven't had the opportunity to hook up with that. So I don't know where that disconnect might be, if there is a disconnect. So I'll leave it to the committee too to talk if you have any concerns about this as well. Tom?
Yeah, I missed last meeting, I was on vacation, but the time before, I thought we made it clear that you get to all the groups and negotiate, talk about, their concerns and all that, but I've heard from many people that didn't get that opportunity. So where you're setting up these things, maybe are times where they can't make it, or you made it unavailable to them, or what the deal is, and I'm not blaming anybody, but we need to look into that. And also I have a concern, some of these things that are related to it are ridiculous. That to able to get points for walking this 1.5 miles, you have to walk with the mayor. I saw the mayor here and I didn't think he was leaving because I wanted to talk to him. Where's the merit of trust? You're gonna give them all these devices and you have to walk with the mayor to able to obtain these points? That is like the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, there are a number.
I can understand the mayor wants 50 people or 100, 400 people walk with him, and so it looks good. But you don't give people all the same time off, or the entire city's going to be shut down for 1.5 hours, or for 1.5 miles, whatever it's going to take. but either do it right or don't do it at all, take it out. You
I
can't tell somebody they have to walk at this time, or they can't use that criteria. So how did that come up?
I think that's one of my concerns too. I think we talked to some of the administrative assistants and that who have staggered lunch hours. So, I feel in a sense that they're being penalized for not having the opportunity to walk at noon. So my thought is, they should still be able to get the points if they walk at 11:30 or 12:30, even if they're not walking with the mayor. So that's just one point that I would like to make. So, and it doesn't seem to be that much of a stretch to me. I'm just looking at it in terms of common sense. Tom?
No, I just wanted to finish, Mark. I wanted
Sorry.
an answer from him, because some people can't do something until after work. Some people go to the gym at 5:30 in the morning. Some people go at 8 o'clock at night when they can.
Well, there are a number of ways for people to earn points, so it wasn't really designed to say that it would be, you don't have to do everything.
Yeah, but that's an easy one for them, then, walking a mile and a half every day, and that's good for them.
Sure, it is.
To tell them they have to do it at this certain time?
Well, that wouldn't happen.
Who decided that? Who decided that?
Well, the mayor has been doing the Heart Challenge program for some time, and we had it on here designed for September initially, but then he decided to do one throughout the summer. So in some respects, it really came out of the mayor's office that they were going to do the walks, and then they asked whether or not we could apply some points to it. So we worked out something so that they could apply points to that. But as I said, there's many, many other ways to earn points. Just for doing your walking, you get points.
Exactly, those
And
are
we have,
easy
and right
points.
now, right now, in the month of July, if everybody earns on average 5,000 points in the month of July, they're gonna get an extra 150 points. Plus their 50 points because they met their monthly goal of 125,000 steps. So there's a lot of things, there's a lot of moving parts, it's not only one thing.
Lynn, you're not gonna be able to do this. No disrespect. Why would you force somebody to have to do it with the mayor when this is an easy one? Instead of keep telling me there's other ways to earn points, something that's really obtainable by everybody that's in it at a different time, be able to obtain that. And the only way they can do it, I need a better answer
Well,
to
then let's
that.
just eliminate it.
Well,
No points for walking with the mayor. And that's resolved.
that's what I'm saying, Joe. Why would you penalize somebody that can't do it?
So you're looking at a penalty, I look at it as reward.
Well, I do too.
If they do go out and do it, it's reward. If they don't go do it, whether they can or can't, I understand, but it's not penalizing
Yeah,
somebody.
we shouldn't
No.
cross-discuss this like that. Because my point is, everybody should be allowed to do that, whether it's with the mayor or at their own lunch hour, and get credit for that. Some people take their lunch at 11, some people take it at 11:30, some people don't get out till 1. So if they can get off at 1 and go walk a mile and a half, they should report it and get credit for it.
Don't they?
No,
Can we do that?
Don't they count the steps? If they
do
go
count,
take that
yes.
mile and a half, they count their steps and
yes,
they,
Sure, yeah, it's kind of like if you do a community event, because you get points for doing community events. If you do a walk, you can almost get triple points, because you can do your walk, you get a community event. I can't remember why I thought there was triple points.
Well, then I think
know,
we
if you
should
do it on-
just-
If you do it on season opener weekend, then you get season opener steps too.
well, I think we should just pull the points away in addition to the steps that are awarded for going with the mayor. So if you walk with the mayor, you only get points for steps, not points for doing the walk.
Well, you'd only get, it would only
Instead
go
of
through,
doubling
it
them
would
up.
be part of your steps, rather than getting additional points for
Right.
that.
I just
So
think
you're-
Because then everybody has that opportunity,
It
you go
should-
for a walk on their
Right.
lunch hour, whether you're with the mayor or without.
They do, yes.
Then it just
Mhm.
cancels itself.
We're just talking, I'm talking staggered lunch hours, that everybody should have the same opportunity for the same item, that's all.
Right.
Well, we'll
So-
take
and
that
Joe, I'm
under-
not trying to take, because the people that like to do it at that time should get their points.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, the other people should get the same points, whether it's with the mayor or not.
Yeah.
I like the points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alder Dorf, yes.
Having been a participant on that walk a couple of weeks, including today, I think that I will say the superintendent of schools from Green Bay put it well this morning when she thanked the mayor and the staff for being an example for children in the community, for moving, which is something that we want our children to do. And I don't understand why we would take away a reward. Everyone can get points for walking, but you're now gonna take away part of that reward because they are choosing to walk at that time. Maybe they're able to, some people choose to, and it's on TV, and the children in our community see these respected adults moving. It seems a
Well, we
little
don't
petty
know.
to want to take.
My point wasn't to take it away, I wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
But someone else that gets off their lunch later should get the same points for walking that mile and a half. Not just because it's with the mayor, but if they do it, I want to keep the points, I want to keep that system going. But everybody should have a fair chance, just because they're not available at his time. If they have their lunch at 1 and they go do that walk, they should be able to maintain the same points you get if you walk with the mayor. So everybody gets it,
Well,
not just
That's all.
certain.
I do know that in some of the departments, and I'm gonna point out DPW, that we talked with Steve about allowing people that wanna do the walk with the mayor, the opportunity to drive down here and do the walk and drive back on that particular day. So we actually did make accommodations to those that wanted to do that so that they could participate in that particular walk. We told employees that if they wanted to do the walk, that might not be able to get away from their desk, to contact us. We'd work with their supervisor to see what we could work out, and maybe they won't go every week, maybe we can do some alternates, or maybe there's something else that we could do here. So we did try to accommodate those that were interested in doing that, because not everybody does it every week. And what we're planning on doing in September is we're gonna run various walks, but that's a little bit different than this one. So we were trying to be as accommodating as we could be to that, but
Well, like was mentioned, Lynn, this is just one concern.
Sure.
The fact is, it's not a tremendous amount of points, but I think it's the perception that, we just want it to be fair for everybody. So I think that's one point that we wanted to bring up. Also, I think one of the things too with a lot of these employees, there are many that have a desk job, so you're sitting. And I worked at the city for 25 years, and I did sit a lot. I sat at a workstation. I signed up for a Y membership on my own, and I wish that we had something like this, when I was at the city. With that being said, it's difficult for some folks to have the same amount of activity, if they're at a workplace. I mean, where I work now, I get 10,000 steps in all the time because my job is such where I'm moving around. You don't have that opportunity here as much within the building. So I'm just looking at opportunities that people have that are a little more sedentary in their positions here as opposed to maybe some of the the workers in DPW and parks that are moving around a lot more. And I don't know if that is a perception or something that's come forward as well.
well, I think that probably where we're gonna find that out is we have a little competition going on right now in July in City Hall versus the rest of the city.
Yeah.
And they're crushing us. So everybody at City Hall, we gotta start walking some more. But I know, I have a sedentary job, and I know she's got 10,000 because she went running this morning, but I'm at 4,000 steps. I'll get my 5,000 in before the night is over, and I have every day in July. Thank God for the Zoom, because that gave me 10,000 steps that day. But you're right, when we're sedentary, we have to push ourselves, which is the idea of the program, to do things. I have to do things like go home and take a walk around the block to get my steps in on a given night.
Okay. What about pre-existing conditions for people?
If someone has a pre-existing condition and it restricts them from doing some things, we'll either find alternatives for them or we will waive, and we have waived a couple situations.
Okay, because like I said, it's very hard to be consistent all the way across the board with all this. I think the concept initially is a good one. I think there's a lot of good things to be had by it. And as Alder Dorf mentioned, I think it's important to send messages out to the community that this is important stuff. It's just that, there are some things, various emails, different things that I've gotten from folks that maybe these are just the consequence of, Joe, why don't you?
No, finish, go ahead, finish
No,
up.
I was just gonna say that, you know, like this whole thing with the the FAQ sheet, now you've seen that, I presume it's from the city. I mean, there's 23 questions, and I don't know if these are things that, you know, personnel or HR has looked at.
Yeah, we developed,
Pretty strongly?
we answered them. They were
Okay.
they were questions that we received, so we tried to get answers out.
And I guess, you know, like I said, you had meetings at 7 different locations and that, and like I said, and Alder Dwayne mentioned it too, that, you know, it seemed like some folks were, I don't know if they got the word, if the word got out, or, you know, if you went through department heads, and the department heads, it was up to them to make sure that they got the word out to all their employees. I just want to make sure that everybody had that opportunity, and if they didn't, you know, I think that, you know, that's a problem too, so,
Well, all I can say is we did hold the meetings, the rooms were full.
okay.
We were at DPW, we probably had 150 employees in there. It was held during work time, and we went there twice, 2 or 3 times. And so they were always, the room was full, and
Okay.
so I think people were aware of it. We sent out information. So, now, this year with the program, and we know that the first year of getting a program rolled out is gonna have some bumps. And there's no question that we see some bumps right now. And so what we're planning for next year, as we prepare for next year, because that's going to be in the next couple of months that we're going to have to look at that, is we do have a new wellness coordinator. She's going to be with us almost full-time, is through Bellin. And we've been working, she's going to be reaching out to a committee, representatives of the departments, to sit with her to help develop the program for next year, so we can get some of these questions answered and deal with some of the issues that may have come up. So for next year, that is what our plan is in terms of the program.
Okay. Gentlemen, Joel?
So I've got a little bit bigger concern here is why the employees are calling, you know, Alderman Stoyer and Alderman Dwayne, and they're not talking to our HR department. And if they are talking to the HR department, then there must be a lack of communication that's coming back. I'm not trying to be accusatory here, but something's happening between the employees and HR where they're more comfortable reaching out to the elected policymakers than they are to the HR department about not being included, not having the information that they need. And so I think that's something that needs to be addressed continually and always should be. I haven't gotten any calls from anybody. But you know, I don't know, it's, people aren't comfortable talking to their HR department, that's gonna make a lot of other people's jobs really hard, including the department heads. You know, if the employees are coming to the department heads, that needs to be a good relationship as well, but then those department heads need to be coming to you. And so somewhere along the line here, there's a lack of communication. I mean, if DPW had 150 people just at one meeting, then that's great, but if 4 people missed it and they decided not to call HR, or not to talk to Director Grenier, and, you know, to call Tom, well, that's a real issue. So I'm not sure where we need to resolve that, but our employees need to be able to talk to the HR directors.
I can't fully disagree either. I mean, I would just as soon have, you know, anytime I get calls, or, you know, some of us alders get calls, you know, there's concerns, so, you know, I'm not asking for that, but it does happen, so I guess the bottom line is we just want to make sure things work, that's all, you know, and whatever that takes. So it is communication, it is, you know, making sure that all avenues are open, and granted, it is a new program, so there will be bumps, as you said. I'm just wondering now, I mean, June 1st is when this all started, correct, in a sense, or was, I mean, that was the kickoff?
Well, it started in May, and June 1, though, it really got going.
So the program is in place,
It's in place, yes.
so there's no,
Right.
going back, at least,
Right, well, and the thing is, for this year, I guess the question is if we do it again next year, for this year, remember that anybody who does their HRA, which is what they did in the
Right.
past, and gets their information in so that they can get their PBA dollars, et cetera, this kind of rolled a lot of things into one plan. If they do their HRA, their premiums are not going to change. Their premiums would stay at 12.5%. If they get the 1,265 points, their premiums are going to be at 11.5%. So the only thing they're going to get from doing the program this year is is a decrease in what they pay for the premiums.
Is there a, you know, it depends on the salary you're making though too, but is there some kind of a cost that you can put toward that as far as what the savings will be? I mean, let's say a $50,000 job, is there any way to do that?
It's hard to say because it's really in your health. What you're trying to do by improving your health is decreasing your cost and your utilization of your health care benefit. And so that's somewhat difficult to do. I think when we were looking at it, at least initially, what the plan was for future years is that you would actually start to build more of a differential between those that don't participate and those that do participate. And there would certainly be some cost savings in it from that perspective if those that aren't participating are paying a higher percentage. So that was in the future years. This first year, though, the difference is only in a decrease for the employees. And it's a percentage of the premium, not of their salary.
Thomas?
Yeah, and then I just want to make a point. I had a lot of new callers on this one, because a lot of people said, listen, I can't do it the way they want to do it. I'm too busy, I got this many kids and all that. I can't come when the mayor's here. My job doesn't permit me to do this. And Alderperson Dorf is exactly right. You don't want to take away something that's being projected as a good thing. Municipalities are looking at what we're doing. Other cities and other counties will be looking at this. They're looking to see which way Green Bay's going. But if we don't make it right, and they see there's all this controversy, so we need to, and Joe, you know, there's got to be some kind of communication point. And you got to find a way where, you know, where honesty, or that you trust somebody. Someone can do this walk, you know, after they work or before they work, and, you know, and they show you or tell you they should get those points. I like the fact that people can walk at lunch and with the mayor, and it's out there, and other people are watching this, but you still have to accommodate those who can't. I mean, make it fair is what I'm saying, because I'm like, I almost couldn't believe it when I was told.
Are there other meetings projected in the near future to, you know, maybe handle some of these concerns in that, or is the program starting to the point now where it's just moving forward and you just have to fill in the blanks accordingly? I don't know if I'm asking that correctly.
Well,
Other question, let's say if some of the rank and file have questions, or, you know, they're saying, well, wait a minute, it's not going quite right for me. They need an outlet that they can speak to someone, and whether it's their supervisor or in HR, and to have it open-ended so that we can, you know, just.
we certainly do get calls from employees, but usually it's about how does this work, or that's not working, or my Fitbit isn't working, or whatever. So it isn't that we've had a lack of communication. We've had a lot of people that have talked to us about that. There's certainly we've had, I have to say, very limited comments about people that didn't like the program. And most of the comments were, were the points arrived at, because they had some concerns about some of the points. But we do have the benefit committee that we meet with on a regular basis. We typically ask them questions. They've been very involved in everything with the health care. And so that's certainly an area that we will be looking at the Health 1265, what's working, what's not working. So we would certainly use that group. We also have the Wellness Committee, and I think they probably will take a look at it. Plus, we are putting a group together with our Wellness Coordinator, who is going to be looking at the programming for next year, and with the new Wellness Coordinator, and she's just getting started, but she's pretty much taking on a lot of things with Health 1265. She's starting to make appointments out at DPW and the other areas, so that's another avenue for people to respond to. Certainly, I think if we thought we needed to go out and meet with the group, if they had specific questions, we would do that. But as I said, we've met with everybody really at this point in large group meetings twice. And I you know, whether or not we'll do that a little later on, I don't know. It's just kind of getting going right now. So we've got a number of challenges and things that didn't exist initially because they didn't start right away. So this month we have, for example, we have two challenges going on. One is the city hall versus the rest of the city, and the walking challenge. And then we also have a weight challenge that's starting on the 17th of July. So anybody that wants to participate in that information just went out. And then in August, let me just look, so there's more activities that are actually starting up. You know, it's kind of, we're just getting our feet wet really with this and kind of moving out with it. Then we have the self-reported workouts that have been going on. Season opener during the opening football season, there's 4 days, and during that 4 days, if you walk 10 miles, which actually is pretty doable, then you'll get additional points for that. And there's also happens to be a night walk going on during that weekend, and it's for, I think, suicide watch and prevention. And so if people participate in that, they can also get a challenge, community challenge plus step challenge plus season opener challenge. So there are a lot of things that are just in the process of getting going and starting with this. We will be, right now with the Park and Rec, we haven't really incorporated their programs into this, but if you do Park and Rec programs, you can get those as self-reported activities. We're probably gonna have someone from Park and Rec on that committee because there's a lot of things we could be doing in conjunction with them and this program to make sure that we're promoting our own programs through this process as well. But
So you're saying of the,
lots,
there's 352 of the 465 that have signed up, and of that 352, are you saying that a majority of them are, well, they must be on board with it because they signed up for it,
yeah.
so.
So I guess I would say that they're at least, I hear some
Huh?
moans in the back, but yeah.
I'm gonna leave this to the audience as well, if there's anybody that would care to speak on this.
Make a motion to.
Second.
Okay, we have a second. So at this time, we're behooved to have folks come up and talk to us as well. So if that's a possibility, if you'd like to come forward and just speak on this matter, Mike? Just state your name and address and all that.
Mike Mixshore, 26 Easy, Green Bay. I spoke to you a couple months ago about this. First thing I want to bring up is the meetings we had. They were great meetings, they're very informational. As far as being an input meeting as to how we wanted to shell this plan out or flesh it out or make it more palatable, we were talking about last meeting, I don't think that really occurred myself. I mean, I've spoken to both of them already about issues I had with it. But a lot of employees, again, will complain, but they won't complain to human resources, to their bosses. Maybe that's why they feel more comfortable going to you. So, me, I'll tell you the way I think it is. But I think that's part of the thing where we're having a lot of meetings, but we aren't having a meeting that's saying, how do you want this plan to look, or what are your issues with this plan? I have the sign up, the thing we were talking about, most people on board, you have to sign up in order to get your PBA dollars. So I'd like to see if those PBA dollars aren't wrapped up in this, what the participation would be. And you know what the PBA dollars are, right? There's, the money you get for going to the doctor, dentist, so that all has to go through my inertia now. So actually, they're doing two jobs at once. They're doing this 1265, plus they're doing the tracking to the doctor visits and everything else, which I know was a big headache for Gene before, so actually that was, that's a good thing. I still have problems again, the way the points are awarded, the way it's scored out, none of that's changed, and there haven't been any discussions about doing anything with that. I have a problem, and I don't know where they are with this, but the three big units, fire, police, and transit, that has to be bargained with. If they decide they don't want to go into this, are we going to try to implement a disincentive to only half our employees? That makes us feel excluded. The thing with the mayor too, I don't mind, I won the walks with the mayor, but I think some people felt excluded because of that. They feel it's just another fracturing of the way it's done. Why can't I go on my lunch on a Tuesday and walk for half an hour to mile and a half and get it done? I think that was their big issue with it, more than anything else. I said, I can see where you want to do it this way. I think it's good publicity. I said, I've been going on them, but I understand where people, that's kind of what their issue is with it. I don't think we want to fracture. We want to keep on trying to give them the carrot again, and not, I think some people feel it's a stick. I think that's my biggest touch on here. I want to also bring it, I know the benefits committee, you did have discussions with it, but it wasn't like it was laid out and saying this is what we're planning on doing, how should this plan look? It was brought to us, if I'm thinking this correctly, and said this is what we plan on doing. So I don't want there to be any misconceptions one way or the other with this. So a lot of this was implemented and brought to us, not discussed with us.
With that being said, Mike, if you you've looked at this, obviously, you know, so, I mean, if you looked at this, I mean, are there things that you already have come forward with, or at least in your mind's eye, as far as what would be effective?
I think initially bringing it out again as an incentive plan, if you're gonna do it, and you're gonna do it to incentivize or disincentive, especially if you start doing the penalty phase of this, if you don't put all of your employees in that plan, that's just gonna be another, you know, another wedge to me. If you can only bring half your population, which say 465 out of,
About 900,
So-
about 50%.
half of our population may not even be involved with this. You know, where does that lead? It's great as an incentive program, but when you start doing the other part of this, I'll call it penalty or disincentive or whichever way you want to do it, but you're only doing it to half your employees, that puts another wedge between them.
And I guess that's one thing that, you know, hasn't been discussed as much here as well. You know, I mean, Lynn, what do you say about that in terms of, granted, you know, they're different units, but,
We have to bargain it with those groups.
Right.
And so we didn't have open granted, we just sewed up the police officer's contract, but that had a lot of things going on in it, and this came up in the end. We actually had some brief discussions, but that's an issue for us to deal with them aside from that, I think. So those are items that we're gonna have to deal with in the bargaining process.
well, I think, you know, Mike, I think one of the things, I mean, you have 900 employees, and I think that's a difficult thing whenever you have a larger group, to make sure that you get them all on the same page. So
Right.
I follow that line of reasoning with the contracts and that, but you're thinking that it would be better if we're all on the same page that way, and I don't know how.
I think when it comes to health insurance, especially that, again, when you're forcing people to get a certain number in order to keep their health insurance from going up, when you have half your employees that are on that plan and half aren't on your plan, I just don't think that's a fair way of doing things. Again, I went back to from the last meeting about the HRAs originally, you know, they told they weren't be held against us, well, and I bought into that, I helped the city sell it, I helped the city sell the PPOs years back. Like I said, I've been doing this for over 20 years with the city, and that, to me, when I told people that it wouldn't be used against them, and now, lo and behold, they're possibly gonna be used against them, that doesn't put me in a good light.
Are you on this program?
Yes.
Okay.
I've been participating, I said, I've been walking the mayor, I've been doing things. I enjoy that, you know, they've been trying, and I give them credit for some of the things they've done. I just don't believe in the whole implementation, especially starting with that point system. You know, you have an 86, you get 600 points. You have an 85, you get 200 points. And I think that, that other gripes they heard, can I assume that's probably one of your biggest ones?
I only really heard that kind of from you, but I think you were carrying it for other people. So I think I did hear it from a couple of others. I think if I looked at any one that people were kind of grumbling about, was probably that Frank. Yeah. So I'm aware
So to
of
me,
that.
you know, to me, it all breaks down basically to two things. It's the HRAs years ago when they're brought out, what they said they're gonna be used for or not used for, and the fairness issue with us, between us and the bargaining units. They're gonna hold us to two different standards on your health care. So, that's what all I have to say on it.
Well, anybody have any questions for Mike?
Thank you.
Okay, Mike,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Okay. Well,
I'm Tim Van Hoovel from the Park Department.
hi, Tim.
I just want to list another concern that we had. It's sort of seems like it's shifting the costs more to the older person. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not as good shape as I was when I'm 20. Right,
Wow.
no.
Really?
So when you get your points, you don't have hardly any points, so you have to do a lot more stuff, and it just makes it harder. I'm not sure that makes it fair. You know? I just was to my doctor, and my doctor said, "Well, you're right where I want you to be. You're doing the exact thing." But then I take that HRA exam, and they say, "Well, you're obese, so you got to do some stuff." No. And so it's a concern of mine that you're shifting the cost to the older person, because okay, now as an older person, it can be harder for me to get them points. Okay, now my percentage is going to be higher. Now, in the years to come, how is it going to be more difficult to get them points? Because if everybody gets it, where's that 1% or whatever percent gonna get made up for in the cost? So, it's a big concern of mine, that's.
We're
where's
gonna
the-
talk, I had talked to you about
Yeah.
that before. And I guess, Lynn, with that being said, what Tim said, is there, granted, when you look at the program itself and you look at the points set up and that, there's really nothing that, talks about age or sex or any other element of who's
Not-
doing this?
Not in the alternate points, but in the HRA, that is age and gender based, those determinations. So, right, I'm looking, I think there are some, aren't they?
You're required to take a medical exam if you're over
Right.
age 40.
But the HRA, no, when they're scoring, I'm not sure.
So when
I don't,
you go to your
we don't do
doctor,
the HRA, so
they
I'd
say
have to
you're
check
good.
that.
And then you come to this, they say, well, you gotta
What?
do all
Michael,
this and this and
It's
that.
Hold on.
not?
There's no age basis.
Okay, all right, okay.
So, that's my concern.
Okay.
I just have a real
Tom?
question for Lynn while he's still here. The medical exam has nothing to do with this, the HRA, right? I mean, you don't,
You have to get the medical, that's part of completing your HRA.
You have to get a medical exam after age 40.
from your doctor or,
Yeah.
From,
From his
I have to do it from my doctor.
He just has to do an annual physical.
insurance,
We don't
you
get any
have to-
report on what their physical, it just,
Yeah,
what we're trying to do is encourage people to
So-
have, two things. One is to have a primary care physician.
Yeah.
The other is to get an annual physical along with your HRA. So if you're over the age of 40, you have some additional requirements. They always have had that.
okay. I
we
just-
always question that, because why should we get an HRA when we're going to get a physical from our doctor? You know, but you did for insurance, because we had to. Because you had to
Well-
do both.
Now, with your position, at the parks, I mean, you're probably fairly active, moving
When
around.
I play basketball in the basketball league for the Parker Rec, we're all over 60 and we still play. So
I've
it's
heard
not like
about-
we're not active.
That's right, you told me about that, too.
Well, see, look at you. You're getting self-reported and you're getting steps.
And I know you're doing things, and like I said, it really depends on the individual, too. I do feel that,
Sure.
you want to be healthy, I would think.
Everybody wants to be healthy.
Right, so, I don't know.
But is it fair? I don't know. Like you said, is the rest of they say, well, like the police and the fire in better shape. Yeah, they are. They retire when they're 52, so we don't have the older group in the groups either. So naturally, their whole base would be a little healthier because it's younger.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else for Tim? Thanks, Tim.
Fluffy Arts. I just wanted to, Mike and Tim kind of took my thunder a little bit, but I just wanted to speak a little bit, Alderperson Dorf, to walk with the mayor. You know, it would be nice, but I speak for a lot of the support staff, the front desk gals, support staff at the police department. In our parks department, we take shifts. There's a couple people taking from 11:30 to 12:30, 12:30 to 1:30. The walk, I don't know if it takes more than a half hour, so the people that have half-hour lunches, they can't take it. So, I mean, with all due respect, the management can go to lunch when they want, that's fine, but, you know, they're the ones that can do that. So I just wanted to mention that it isn't always easy for, and it's women. Women are sitting at, so it targets women. They're the support staff, they're the ones sitting at their desk. And I'm on one of the committees, and we did try to bring some stuff up, and I don't know if it was kidding or not, but they said, we only want to hear the good, don't come with the negative. And that's, I mean, it really wasn't negative, it was just questions that, you know, we were asking.
So you were at one of the 7 meetings in Fluff?
No, I'm on the wellness committee.
On the wellness committee?
Mhm.
Okay.
And I go to the labor management. So, I mean,
Well, I know that, I mean, we've talked about that issue that you just brought up. Are there other things that you,
But in all honesty, I think that the comment that came up, we only want to hear the positive, was not a member of HR. It was somebody.
Correct. I didn't
It was
say
an
it was.
employee member of the committee, so
Right.
it was another employee. So I just
Okay.
wanted to, because he made it sound like maybe it was us, and that wasn't, we weren't shutting.
well, I
down
didn't say that,
discussion.
but, you know.
No, but that's how it infers, so.
is there,
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean that.
yeah,
But it was said.
okay. Are there other
No, like I said, they
issues with
kind of
this?
stole the thunder, but, you know, that's basically it with the, as far as the walk with the mayor. And that, and they looking at getting what, Lynn, 4,000 steps in a day? It's hard to do that. Yes, you can do that after work, but when you sit at a desk for 7.5, 8 hours, it's hard to do. You can get up on your break and walk. You can get up and do that in your half hour, but again, it's hard to do. And I don't know, Steve, you said Steve, DPW is allowing them. I don't know about the park shop or DPW. Are they gonna stop collecting garbage and come and walk with the mayor? Are we gonna have everybody doing that? I don't know. I'm just saying you have to look at all aspects, every employee out there.
I think initially it was brought up as a positive, I think in that sense. But I
Yeah.
understand
I think it
that
is. It's
anytime
just-
something comes up, there's always going to be other setups, so. Anything else, Paul?
Nope, that's it.
All right,
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything? at all?
Anybody else?
Oh,
Can I say a word?
yes.
I'm on the other side. I think it's a very motivating plan, and I think it's good. I had no input on the plan, so one thing I guess I just want to comment about is that the whole plan, how it was laid out, was brought to council, and it was approved. So when they had the informational meeting, they were just implementing the plan that was brought to them by council. At that time, there was no chance to really change the plan. It was already laid out. So if somebody thought they were going to come in and have input on changing the plan, it was, I don't want to say it was too late, but I mean, they could have some impact on maybe some of the programs that were going to happen later in the year, but council already approved the program. They implemented it. Their informational meetings, I think, were just implementing the plan. So I guess I didn't see any problems with those meetings. And, really when you go for your points, there's a huge buffet of different items you can pick from. Walk with the mayor is just one of 15 different ways you can get points. It's not even high points. So it's just something that's just one. There's so many different ways you can get points. So, I have a sedentary position also. There's a lot of people that have those positions, so it's really doesn't seem difficult to get the points, to get the steps. So I just want to let you know, I think it's a great plan. I think it's very motivating. I've had several people who are like, "Ooh, it's getting to be the end of the night." We'll actually walk in place for 10 minutes before you go to bed because I want that thing to hit the next spot. So,
And that's just your name for the record.
I'm Diana Ellenbecker.
Okay, Diana.
Thank you.
Diana,
Thank
do
you.
you get, are you able to walk with the mayor?
Yes, I do most times. Yes.
Okay, so you got a longer lunch, you're able to do it?
I do have
You're
a
permitted
1 hour
by
lunch.
dawn?
You good?
Yes.
I think they all get 1 hour.
Not everybody. Someone
If I
got
want
half
to.
hour.
Most days I don't take a lunch.
A lot of employees only get a half hour,
Yeah.
so it's
But most days I
great
don't
for
take a
you,
lunch.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's great if you can look at. Is there anybody else? All right.
Turn right over.
Sure.
Oh, Steve.
Steve Bernier, Director of Public Works. Even for those folks who only have a half an hour lunch, my employees have been allowed to come down here and take that half hour lunch to do the walk with the mayor if they so desire. They've also been given the opportunity to have their lunch, so they don't have to use the entire lunch period for that purpose. We made reasonable accommodations for folks to be able to do this. There is some requirement on behalf of the employees to ask their supervisors whether or not this can be done. I can't anticipate everything, and if somebody will ask, I'll answer the question. We will make every accommodation that we can.
Right.
So to state or to infer that we think we can't do this, or we don't know if we can do this, I agree with Alderman Moore. I have a little bit of disappointment in some of the comments that have been made. If I've got employees who are coming to alderpersons and they're not coming to Human Resources and they're not coming to me, okay? Sedentary positions, I average 5 to 6 meetings a day. I probably spend 6.5 to 7 hours of my workday in meetings. You want to talk about a sedentary position? Director of Public Works is it. I'm just looking at my app, over the past month, June 15th through today, I have walked, as of walking into the meeting here tonight, 234,899 steps, okay? At about 1,650 steps per mile based on my stride length, it's a couple hundred miles I've walked in the past month alone. Does it take the initiative on behalf of somebody to do it when and where they can? You bet it does. And you know what's gonna happen when I walk out of this meeting tonight? I'm going home and I'm walking 4 miles. Does it require the employee to take the initiative? You bet it does. Am I a healthier person for it? Yes, I am. Do the HRA things lean toward, skew towards older people? I don't know, I don't consider myself old, I'm only 48. But
Pretty
I'm managing 4 chronic conditions, and my HRA scores aren't the greatest. So you know what I'm doing? I'm bucking up and I'm taking care of business.
All right, thanks, Steve. All right.
Move to return to order.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, we're moving back to regular order. What's that?
I'll just mention something.
All right, Joe, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I've had the privilege of working in the private sector for a long time, and I would just say that every insurance plan that ever came to me was just presented. There's people that represented us, that may have had some negotiations and some input at those times, but once the plan was in place, it was presented. It wasn't a, give me your feedback. It was a, this is how it is. I've never had a job that didn't have that, and now as a private contractor and having to have my own insurance and shopping around for it, I didn't get to give any insurance agents I talked to my input on how the plan should be. It was presented to me about what my options were. So we did as a council, we tried to make this first year where it wouldn't harm people that weren't participating. And we wanted to review it after this first year, to kind of see where we should go from there. So this is the point where we do need to see the input, because if we're going to review this after this first year and implement something in year 2, that's where the changes need to be made. So I'm glad that you brought this up, Alderman Stoyer, because these questions that we're getting and these comments that we're getting on the fairness of the program, the availability to everybody of the program, the communication from the departments to their employees and to HR, these are all things that need to be addressed now in July, not at budget time and not 2 months after budget time. So I'm not sure what kind of action you want to take at this time, but I think that this has definitely been a productive discussion as far as the plan that's in place now that was presented at those meetings. That is the plan that we approved.
Right. No, I
So,
agree.
I mean,
It's
that's-
just, this is an update.
Right.
So, but, is that it?
Yep,
Thanks,
so
Joe.
that's fine.
All right, great, thanks, Joe. Tom? Sly?
Yeah, I think what I heard tonight was a number of concerns and a couple of specific ones that I think we could think about taking some action on. I am concerned about the perspective that we're dividing the employees into 2 groups, one of which will be ultimately, as this program moves forward, one half of the employees will be subject to different premiums based on their participation in the project, and the other half may not, because we have to negotiate that one. I think it would be reasonable for us to request a timeline by which that will be resolved. Either we're gonna know that those other employee groups are gonna be part of this program, or we know that they're not, and then we can factor that into our thinking about whether we continue on the path that we're going down. So that would be one alternative, is to ask staff to give us a timeline by which they believe we can have the answers for those 3 employee groups that require negotiation discussions. The other thing I heard was a concern that some employees do not have the opportunity to engage in this walk with the mayor activity that gets some points. And I think we could ask staff to come forward with some sort of an alternative for those employees. I don't know what that would look like, but if you use your imagination, there's probably some way that we could have an alternative. That way we could at least start now dealing with those 2 specific concerns that people brought up.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. Tom?
Yeah, I just want to make it clear. I actually asked Alderman Story to put this on because of the concerns. I want you to realize, I want to get to some of these questions and concerns now, because later on, we really got to deal with the big thing, what's going to happen the following year. And when I hear that, some employees can get some real easy points by coming to the mayor, and not everybody's going to be like Steve. And I tell you, he's one of the greatest guys to work for. He helped me out big time today again. He always does. He's straightforward, he tells you like it is. And I appreciate that. And there's a lot of directors that do that. And, but not everybody does. And to not listen to these concerns would be wrong. The reason why they come to us, they feel comfortable with us that we'll listen and we'll go back and we'll answer those questions. And to answer what I believe why they don't go to HR is because they don't feel not everybody feels they're being listened to anyways. You heard them say they had 7 meetings, but it was only a listening session, no input by them. And that's not why I asked them to do that. I asked them to do it so they can get input. When I worked for UPS, this is one thing we did have the privilege to do. When it came time for our insurance, they not only asked for input, they would put 3 or 4 alternatives up there, and there'd be discussions. We would have our meetings, and we'd go back to our top person and just say, listen, this is where we feel will benefit everybody. And we would actually make changes. If a lot of it reflected, like in Green Bay, when I was working there, we had, the majority of people were ready for retirement. I mean, we had 20, 30 guys go like that, and I was one of them. And so, as you talk to the young guys now, and they say the contract really changed because of the fact that they're a lot younger, they can do more, they can get more out of them and stuff like that. So they do go to their employees. As far as I'm concerned, from top to bottom, this is what makes Green Bay. It's our employees. And to not try to be as fair as we could would not be right. I mean, you hear all the great things in Green Bay, and it just doesn't happen. We're not the ones that do it, so you guys out there are the employees that make it what it is. You know, we pass legislation, we pass ordinances, or we do this and that, but it's you employees that make it what it is. So, I just really wanted to get it out now, see what we can do. Staff can look at this and say, listen, we might be able to do this or that. And that's a real reason for this. And I know I sounded quite, I was hoping the mayor was here, because when I was told that the only way you give points if you follow his direction or walk with him, I'm thinking, why would that be? And I didn't understand it. But I understand that it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I mean, every day. I mean, the whole city could walk with him. But that's why it was brought up. Too many concerns. And so let's get it now, so when we get to the budget time and we deal with 2017, we're where we need to be.
Okay.
And Joe's right, people should be able to go to HR.
Don?
Yeah.
Good, thank you. Joe?
Just final comment on that whole working in the private industry and not having a say on the plan. The plan was also implemented to all 60,000 employees that had the same option of the plan. It wasn't 50% split. So, I mean, that's another, I think, big thing, is that when it was presented, there's not that divide between police, fire, and transit with the rest of the employees. And that, I think, is probably,
Right.
I'm thinking that is probably the biggest hurdle that
Right.
that we'll have to figure out a way to overcome. You don't have an easy job, Director Boland. This is our opportunity now, though, for the next couple of months to get this feedback to you, so that in year 2, when you go to present the plan and not ask for feedback at those meetings, and you're presenting a plan that is approved by the council, we need all the feedback that we can get now, so that in year 2, it's refined.
I agree with Joe on that, and on the fact that it was brought up that, we as alders do get calls from various, staff and that, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. I mean, I think that if there are concerns that they can bring forward, what I would like to do is that some of the concerns that I've gotten, I can transfer and send those over to HR. I would like you to at least look at those, and if there's some way to implement, or at least ameliorate some things, I would like that opportunity.
That's why we do ask if there is input, and if we don't have that,
And I think, we're a buffer in a sense, because I think there are times where maybe some of the rank and file might have a hard time talking to certain department heads or certain offices. Maybe they feel that, and it might be the nature of the beast, maybe they just don't feel as comfortable. You would like to think that, and I'm not pointing at any one particular office, I'm just saying that, you know, this is just an opportunity, and I would bring those forward, and what Alderman Slotnick said as well, those 2 points that you brought up, Tom, I would like those checked in as well. You know, you wrote those down, correct? You know, the 2 concerns I have. Well, that's all I have right now, so I don't know, just receive and place on file.
We'll just, unless they want to bring back the information next meeting, they might
If you-
have something.
If you could just keep us updated on
Yeah, just an update at the next personnel meeting.
and if there's,
The suggestions that Alderman Slotnick had of coming up with an alternative, I think that that's something that we should be able to do by the next meeting, just have an alternative for the people that can't walk with the mayor. I think that's
Just right-
part of it.
Hold
for sure.
the
That
item for
one?
next meeting?
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, we'll just, I guess what I'd like to see is just a continual, you know, just even if it's a paragraph or two, just telling what you've done for our next meeting.
Move to hold for an update at next meeting.
Okay,
Second.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all opposed? Okay, thank you for your input. Number 8, report of routine personnel actions for regular employees.
This is just
Move to
a,
receive and place on file.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 9, update and discussion on police supervisory labor negotiations.
yeah, if
Do
we
we-
could, I'd like to go into closed session.
Okay.
Make that motion to go into closed session.
All right,
Second.
Alderman Moore, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The committee may convene in closed session pursuant to state statutes 19.85 sub 1 sub E for purposes of deliberating or negotiating public employee contracts or for competitive or bargaining reasons. The committee may thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to state statute 19.85 sub 2 to report the results of the closed session and consider the balance of the agenda.
Okay.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, gotta have a roll call.
Roll call? Okay. Just for Alderman Dwayne,
Aye.
Alderman Slotnick,
Aye.
Alderman Stoyer, aye, Alderman Moore.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I know you'd love to stay. but- What's that?
Aye.
Second.
Okay,
Aye.
all in favor? Aye. All right.
One of you guys grab the door.
Grab the door.
If you don't mind.
Thank you, Chief.
I do it, but I don't get points for steps.
Right back.
We can get you one of these for,
How much?
you pay me $70.
Is that, you guys said it's a discount, right?
Yeah, it's $70, it's $199 on mine, so.
My birthday's July 24th. I don't know if
Mine's August 2nd, so I.
that, that fell on deaf ears.
So it's more as a push.
Just a 5-minute break.
We can take a few minutes.
We can get on with,
Alderman Jones.
finance.
My HRA is sensitive.
More came back on.
Do you have the motion?
All right.
Slotnick, you want me?
All right, let's, go ahead, Alderman Slotnick.
I'll move to direct staff to proceed as discussed in closed session.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that passes. All right,
Move adjournment.
yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great.
Great,
Good job.
thank you. Good job, all right.
We'll take a few minutes before we
Yep.
start the finance meeting.
I'm gonna take some steps.